So, hello, old friend.
Hey, old friend.
Whoever thought that we'd be working in the same place after all those years ago,
I wouldn't have.
being at CU
Yeah,
together? I
there you
know.
go.
So, talk to me a little bit about your days as a student at CU Boulder and the path that led you here to the Center for Musical Arts.
Wow. You want me to go all the way back to that college
Go
time?
all the way back.
You
I have
expect me to
memories.
remember
I
any?
have memories if
Okay.
you don't.
Okay. I attended the College of Music. Well, I guess what was significant about my college education was that I was thinking that I was going to be the world's greatest trumpet player. And
Maynard Ferguson.
yeah, or several, and so I had originally thought I would go to a real jazz school, and back in the day that was North Texas State.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and I went down there to visit and discovered that the chances of me becoming the world's greatest trumpet player were not as great as I had thought.
Mm.
So, in fact, I walked in the practice corridors and discovered there were 47 trumpet majors already there,
Okay.
and they were all sounding really
Real
good.
good.
Really good. So I decided to stay in Boulder, where I've been for my entire life, born and raised, and attend CU. And my trumpet teacher was already on the faculty at CU, so it seemed natural to do that.
Sure.
And it was easy for me to do it. I just kind of knocked on the door and said, "Can I come to your school?" And they said, "Yes." I mean, that's not so easy anymore. But for me, it was an enrollment thing, and I jumped in. And at first, I had no clue as to why I was there. I was just going to try to be successful at
Had you
playing.
thought about education, or were you thinking performance
Not
at the
too
time?
much. Thinking performance still, thinking that I'm the greatest. But my mother, bless her heart, said, "Son, I don't know if you're going to be the greatest. You might be, but why don't you consider education as sort of a backup in case that doesn't work out for you?" And so I did her advice, and kind of grudgingly, still thinking I was the greatest, but enrolled in education. And then 4 years later, the light came on, and wow, this was not a bad idea. And when I graduated, of course, I did all the stuff playing-wise at CU, jazz thing,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's a bigger program now than we had jazz band on the noon hour, and
I remember.
and that was it. Wayne Scott was my director in those days, and he had started the program. And now it's grown into an official part of department thing and a degree. There was no such thing in my day. So I got the music ed degree. I walked out the door and was lucky enough to get a teaching job right away. So off I went.
And that was Fairview?
No,
Right away?
no, not initially. I had kind of an interesting path to my first job. Vietnam, of course, was on our minds then. Young men, when we graduated from college, we would become 1A, and nobody wanted to be drafted. So a lot of us thought that the best way to go, if we had to, was to audition for service bands.
Oh, sure.
All the military, they had their own bands, band programs. In fact, at the time, it was kind of wild and crazy because all the best trumpet players in America, my age, were auditioning for bands because they didn't want to carry rifles either.
Yeah.
So the military bands were huge then and good,
Really good.
really good bands. So I did audition and was successful in getting an Air Force letter. However, St. Mary's High School in Colorado Springs interviewed me and hired me to be their band director in the following fall of my graduation from CU. And so I was excited. We were going to move to Colorado Springs, and I was going to be the high school band director. In August, I got a letter from St. Mary's High School canceling their music program.
Oh, gosh.
So, boom, I'm back in the 1A deal again, and panic's going crazy. Fortunately, a man named Chuck Byers, who was the assistant dean at the College of Music at that time, took me in his office because I was panicked, running up and down the hall going, "Help me, help me." And he said, "Sit down." So he called Alex Campbell at Jeffco, who was the music coordinator, And he said, Alex, I got a young man sitting here, needs a job. You got anything? And Alex said, we just had a gal leave on maternity leave in our elementary division. And so, yeah, we have an opening. Put him on the phone. So in August, I sat on the phone and interviewed with Alex Campbell, and it was fun. He asked me some general questions, and then he said, Steve, do you know all the fingerings for bassoon? And I went, oh, wow, no. But I'll find out right away if that's important. He said, it's not. I just wanted to know what you'd say. So anyway, that's kind of personal stuff. But he hired me. So I got my first job in Jefferson County, 4 elementary schools, and that was it, year 1. Then the following year I did get in Boulder Valley, and off we went. We made 42 years worth of Boulder Valley. Most of that was at Fairview High School.
That's 42 years is an amazing career. Absolutely amazing.
Well, if I look at it right now, I'm in 52,
Right.
52nd year of teaching. Well, okay. I'm still okay.
Yeah, you are. So when did you, in the midst of your semi-retirement from Fairview, did you start working here?
Yeah, it was kind of in connection with 2 paths. One was kind of Louise, of course, my wife, who is in development here, sort of got to know Kathy and Peggy, the founders, and they had suggested they'd like to start a jazz program. So I came on at their request, and we started a little group here. We had about 5 people, and off we went. And it's grown now, of course, into a jazz studies program of 4 groups, of which I'm really proud of and very excited about all the time. But in those early days, it took a while to get it going. I also launched my young people's camp. I had a thing called Seas Jazz in the Summer. And that camp I used to do at Fairview, and I'd have up to 60 kids in the summertime come at various levels of jazz groups. And so I moved it out here.
Okay.
And that went for a while. I was successful at that until the years went along, and the competition now is pretty steep for young people jazz. And so I don't do that anymore. But that's also part of my beginning here.
Really cool. Okay, so you have been inducted into the Colorado Music Educators Hall of Fame, a rather wonderful honor. And you've also been given the Pace Setter Award in 2014. Talk to us a little bit about what that means, what it means to be honored as a great master teacher.
Wow. I don't think there's anything more special than to have your colleagues declare that they think you're pretty okay. That was what the Hall of Fame award did for me, was to make me feel a part of a historical great history of jazz in Colorado, music education in Colorado. And that was because my colleagues thought I was worthy. And that's
an
pretty
amazing
high
honor.
Yeah, pretty high on the list. Pace Setter Award is Boulder itself. Some people felt that I had done some significant things in the field of music education.
And I think that they're right.
Well, thank you.
You have. Share your feelings about the CMA and its importance here in the community.
That's really easy for me because of 2 categories. The atmosphere when I teach here and my colleagues are special because they care about what they're doing, and they're willing to adhere to the philosophy of anybody can be involved in this process of music education, young or old, and that philosophy really excites me. But I was also impressed by the overall feeling I had from the founders in those days, the early days for me, of their commitment to helping what I was involved in, and that's public school education. There was some competition once in a while from private institutions about our public school programs. In other words, the best players in our public school orchestras and bands would sometimes disappear into the private group being drawn out and would disappear from our public situation, which was challenging for us and irritating. But when I talked to Peggy and Kathy, their philosophy was, no, we're here to support. We want to make sure that we have facilities available to help public school students achieve greater success. And that was exciting to me. For a while, I was the music coordinator, instrumental music coordinator for Boulder Valley, and I had the privilege of having Peggy and Kathy speak to the entire music faculty.
Oh, wonderful.
And what they did was talk to all of my teachers as, special people, and that they were developing a school to assist their education. And that went over big.
As opposed to compete with.
Oh, yeah, that went over big. And so when, I had a chance to be a part of this and jump in with this philosophy, it was easy. It was a go.
Yeah, great. So you've spent most of your career working with young people, and now you're working with the adult population.
Right.
How does that feel, working with the adult population in your jazz studies program here?
If I don't look at myself in the mirror, I'm okay. But, what's really cool is that a lot of my students now are former students.
Right.
So, in fact, I think it's close to 50%
Really?
of the people that I have now
That's
have
wonderful.
studied with me somewhere at some time. And so it's kind of fun to grow with them. I'm ahead. I got there before they did, but it's cool watching them, become parents and do stuff and have jobs and day gigs and, still want to be a good musician. So that's good.
Not only do they want to be a good musician, but they want to be a musician with you,
Yeah.
which is such a tribute to you, again, as a human being, as a great educator, as someone who is caring and compassionate about your students and the way that they go through life.
Well, thank you. I get a kick out of some of their reactions. It's funny. A lot of them are in their 40s now, but they'll look at me and I can see and they'll look back at me that, oh, he's going to say that same stuff he said way back when. And it's real easy for me to walk up and go to, hey, if you'd have listened to me 20 years ago, I wouldn't have to say that again, would I?
That's great.
So we have some fun with that. And I'm sure they squirm once in a while, but.
Oh, I think they're mostly having just fun. Thank you, Steve.
Oh, hey, my pleasure.
This was great.
All right.